So much to talk about today, and I don't want this video to get really long, okay, because I like to keep them to 10 minutes for a couple of reasons that I don't need to explain to you, but that's where I like the videos to be. So, that's what we'll shoot for this time again. Okay, with your essays, some of you kind of decided you didn't want to go through the whole thing of the writing process, and your essays reflected it. We saw a lot of the kinds of problems that you had in your first rewrite back when we did the writing process. And so it was very obvious to me that many of you were not following the entire writing process. Our goal here is to help you help yourself become a better writer, okay? You have to do the things yourself. I can only indicate to you what you should do. We've talked about each of the steps of the writing process. All of you have done all of the steps of the writing process. And when all of you did all of the steps of the writing process, you came up with really, really excellent final essays. I mean, they were all in the between A minus, B plus, B. They were all in that range, okay? What you gave me this week indicated that you did not follow the process, that many of you did not follow the process. Some did. But again, every time you write, if you follow that process, first of all, it will make it better. But secondly, it will make it easier. It will make it faster, okay? Because you'll have done it the way that you're supposed to. And if you remember the time that you put into the writing process when we went through all 5 of those steps, you never spent a long period of time, okay? But you came out with really good essays. So that's what you need to concentrate on. And so you are rewriting those essays for this week. And of course, I indicated that to each of you on your essays that you need to rewrite it. And I indicated to you where your problems were. But in the lesson that I posted for you for this week, I gave you areas in the book that many of you need to look at. Please do that. We don't want your writing to just be okay. We want your writing to be terrific. We all have the same goal here, to make you a better writer, okay? The things that we've talked about in there make you a better writer. So this isn't about me having a red pen. I don't have a red pen, okay? This is about you thinking about these things each time that you go to write. I was going to say put pen to paper, but most of you probably don't do that. Each time you sit down at a keyboard and start to write, those are things you need to think about each and every time. So going through that process gives you the process, again, of gather ideas, rough it out, see if it makes sense, see if you have enough details, all of those kinds of things. And then work on your sentence structure, and then work on your choice of words and everything, okay? So we gave you that process. Do it in that format. Do it that way, and your writing will be better. You'll save me a lot of correcting time, but it's not about me. You'll save you a lot of correcting time too, okay? And I want to give you all A's, A minuses, B pluses, whatever, I don't want to give C's, okay? I don't like to give C's. So do it my way, okay? Good. Enough said about that. So again, there was a lot of good stuff there. All of you got the idea of moving from abstract to concrete, and that is a hard concept. All of you conquered that. I was really, really proud of what all of you did in that, okay? So I'm not saying everything was bad. It wasn't. In everybody's paper, everybody made that move, and that's a hard thing to do. So all of you gave real thought to what you were doing, and congratulations, because I'm very pleased with that part of it, okay? So let's get pleased with every part of it. Okay, something else we're doing this week is, again, we're working on your research paper. We're taking you through this step by step by step. You've gathered a minimum of 6 sources. Most of you will probably need to gather more sources as we go along. And when you do, again, use the idea cards, the note cards, the index cards, whatever you want to call them. They're all the same thing. Okay, those little 3x5 or 4x6 cards, and put a source on each card individually in the format that we talked about in here. And your book does explain the format. I don't know the exact pages, but it's in your book under MLA style. So you can check it out there so you make sure you get the exact format, because it'll make it easier later. Okay. And then this week, you're also going to start collecting some ideas for your research paper. Okay. Some of you need to limit, and I indicated that in the notes that I made on the lesson that you gave me last week. Some of you have too many different topics you're trying to do in your paper. Limit yourself to 3 or 4 or 5 parts of that topic, depending on how big they are, and then go deeply into those. We want you to go deeply into what you're doing rather than just touch upon a whole bunch of things. Okay? Now, as we get to taking ideas for your paper, and that's what we're starting on today, put this thought in your head. And I know I've said it before, I'll say it again, but to make sure you know it, every idea that you take from somebody else, you're going to have to tell exactly where you found that idea. Exactly. Okay? Meaning not only the source, but if there's a page in a book, the page you got it from. If you went on the internet and found it, the date you found it on the internet. Okay? If it's in a magazine, the page it was in that magazine. If it's in a journal, the page it was in that journal. If you interview somebody, the date that you interviewed them. Your reader has to be able to get to exactly where you found each piece of information that is in your paper. Okay? So be very, very meticulous about this. Make sure that on every card that you make, every idea card, you put down on there your source and page number, or if there's no pages, date, or whatever you need so that your reader can get back to it. Okay? Now, as you are doing these idea cards, only write one idea on a card. Even if that idea is only 3 words, that's all you put on that card. Don't worry about filling up note cards, okay? One idea on a card. If that idea is longer, then fine. You might write on both sides of the note card, but don't try to put part of it on one side and part of it on the other. One idea on one side and one on the other. No, you're making it harder for yourself. And I'll tell you why down the road, so please do it my way. Don't try to just clip out pieces from the internet and print them off. That makes it harder for you. Do it my way. Use note cards. Again, you're going to have to hand in these note cards with your paper when your paper is ultimately due. So do it my way now. Make life easier for you later. Okay? So, you put one idea on a note card. So you're reading through something and you say, okay, yeah, this looks like something that pertains to my topic. Write it down. Summarize it, okay? Write a little summary. Or paraphrase it. And paraphrase it means taking somebody else's idea and putting it in your own words. Or quote it directly. When you quote it directly, when you quote it the way you found it, put quotation marks around it on your idea card, so that when you transfer things from your idea card to your paper, you'll know it's a direct quote. But whether it's a summary or a paraphrase or a direct quote, you're going to have to tell in your paper where it comes from. This isn't just a bibliography at the end. This is noting within your paper where every idea you take from somebody else comes from. Okay? So this is probably very different for many of you from reports that you wrote in high school, or even for the kind of thing you may be doing in your psychology class where you're doing kind of a summary. No, you in a real research paper, as we're doing now, you note idea by idea by idea where each idea comes from. Okay? So make sure you do that now. It'll make it easier later. Do it my way. It's the easiest way. It's the most efficient way. It's the most time-saving way, and you'll write the best paper my way. I've been doing this longer than any of you has been alive, okay? Longer than any of you has been alive, and I know some of you have put your ages down there, but I've been doing this longer even than those of you who put your ages down there. So I've been doing this longer than any of you have been alive. I've, studied a whole lot of ways, and this is the easiest and most efficient way to write a really good paper. So I told you in the assignment, I told you to do a minimum of 10 idea cards this week, and then on Moodle, copy the information from those 6 idea cards, so set it up as 6 different things. On Moodle, obviously I'll on the same Moodle page, but skip spaces in between so we can see one and another and another. And then you're redoing your essay for this week. So I gave you pages in the book so that you can find the problem areas for your essays. If any of you have questions, you know where to get me. Overall, you're doing a good job. I think maybe you had too much time last time, and that was part of the reason why some of you kind of rushed through things at the end. But let's move forward now. Everybody is still in line for a really good grade. So keep up the good work. You know where to get me. Thanks.